Welcome into the Heat Report by Chat Sports. Miami picked up their 35th win of the season to move to 35-26, 9 games over 500 with a win against the Detroit Pistons. It wasn't pretty, but Jimmy Butler came through in the clutch as always. Duncan Robinson was fantastic. Just a very well-balanced game for Miami where they were able to pick up the win. And I wanted to answer some questions from the Heat fans after that win, as everything is all right in Miami land. So it is going to be a fun road here as they take on the Mavericks on Thursday. And I think we have to start off with one of the biggest questions surrounding the Miami Heat, and that is Tyler Herro. Shout out to Ringing Liberty coming in with this one of when is Tyler Herro going to return? And I got to be honest, I thought he would already have returned to the Miami Heat. If you remember, the initial injury for Tyler was a knee hyperextension that occurred late in the fourth quarter against the New Orleans Pelicans, which was the first game back for Miami after the All-Star break, and he missed a couple of games. It was expected. But lately, it's been labeled as a foot injury for Tyler Herro, which if you also recall, going back before the Heat's game against the Pelicans, Herro tweeted out a cryptic tweet, which we talked about on the show, of it was just a facepalm emoji. And it later came out that that was because of him tweaking his foot in a practice or a training session. So he hurt his knee, and that's the reason why he was out against Sacramento and Portland, but then he's been out the last 3 or 4 games because of a foot issue. So I'm a little skeptical of when Tyler is actually going to return, and Miami might be looking at this and saying, well, we're playing such good basketball right now, there's no need to rush Tyler Herro back. So maybe that's why it's taking a little bit longer for Tyler to get back into this Heat rotation because, well, Eric Spoelstra was just saying like, well, we're playing so good right now, we're winning so many games that let's just make sure Herro is fully healthy and he doesn't have a higher chance of re-injuring himself. I think that's why it's been a while for Tyler to be back. I think I would be interested in my answer to this question, Ringing, to bring it full circle, is if he travels with the team. If he comes on this 2-game road trip on a back-to-back to Dallas and OKC starting Thursday and Friday, I think Tyler returns on Friday against the Thunder to give some insurance and bolster this Heat rotation on the second night of a back-to-back. If he doesn't return, and I would say Sunday against the Wizards would be my best guess, I feel like he's got to be close to returning. The main question people are going to start asking, though, is from DBI, should Tyler Herro come off the bench for the Miami Heat when he does return? I got to be honest, we did a video on this as well when I talked about Herro benched, and I talked about if he should be benched, if Robinson should be the starter. And I'll tell you this. I think I have officially been converted into Duncan Robinson should start for this Heat team. It's not just because of what he did against the Detroit Pistons, where he had 18 points and made 4 triples, including a clutch one to give the Heat a 6-point lead with under 2 minutes to go in the game. It's because the way this Heat team plays when Duncan Robinson's on the floor. And this is the biggest question. And I've always said I don't really give a shit who starts. It's about who closes the game. But as unfortunate as it is I think all of us wanted Tyler Herro to become this elite 3-level scorer that started in our lineup. He just might be better well-suited for this team coming off the bench as that scoring punch. Because Rozier and Duncan have played well together. Duncan and Bam have the best chemistry out of any 2-man tandem in the entire lineup. And the Heat just simply don't lose when Duncan starts, and they simply don't lose when he scores 18+. Like, they have a winning percentage of above 900, I believe, when he scores 18+. I think they're still undefeated when D-Rob scores more than 20 a game. So, as hard it is to swallow if you're a Tyler Herro stan, and if you're Tyler himself, but I think it's time for Eric Spoelstra to make the executive decision and put Tyler Herro as the 6th man. And I'd want to rephrase this as like it's not him getting benched. It's not Herro getting benched. It's just the better thing that serves this team. It's kind of how I view it at this point. More questions to get to in a second, but show some love to our sponsor on today's video, and that is Factor Meals. Go to factormeals.com/HeatChat50 and use code HeatChat50 to get 50% off. Factor Meals, what is it? Well, it's 2-minute meals that get delivered right to your door. Chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals that are ready to be heated up and eaten just in the microwave in 2 minutes. Over 35 meals to choose from on a weekly basis with 55 add-ons as well, whether it be protein shakes, smoothies, juices, breakfast bites, wellness shots. They have it all. And you can be flexible with your orders as well. 6 to 18 meals per week. But I tell you what, there's no better way to stay filled up with your busy schedule, but also eat healthy food that is restaurant quality. Like, it's truly unbelievable. So this link, factormeals.com/HeatChat50, will be in the description and comments of today's video. Use code HeatChat50 at factormeals.com/HeatChat50. Get 50% off today. I promise you will not regret it. Going to Break Bread Seed, how you think Terry looking? So Terry Rozier, who obviously Pat Riley traded for 2 weeks before the trade deadline, sent Lowry in a first-round pick in 27 for Scary Terry. And Rozier has really started to play better, I think, as of late. Sure, there has been some ups and downs from Terry still, and I still think he has really bad starts. Like, his first quarters are not good for Miami. But he has really started to become a good second-half player for Miami. Like, against the Pistons, he had 17 points. I think he shot 7 of 17, had 7 assists as well. He's been averaging 17 points for Miami over the last 4 games. He's just been playing better and better basketball as time has gone on, getting more comfortable in the system. And we've been asking him to shoot better from deep, 3 of 6 against Detroit. So that's what the Heat are going to need from him in the future in order to win in the playoffs. They're going to need Rozier to be elite, and Terry has been able to be very solid ever since the All-Star break, his return from injury. I like how Rozier has played over the past couple games. CN with a question, Anthony Edwards in a Heat culture jersey in 3 years. Well, I'll tell you what, if there is a whale down the pipeline, I think Anthony Edwards would have to be that guy. Ant has had an outspoken affection for the Heat culture and head coach Eric Spoelstra and his experience with Spo over the summer with Team USA. He said how much he admires what the Heat have done as an organization and what Eric Spoelstra does and how he gets the most out of his guys. And I tell you what, if Ant ever wanted to leave Minnesota, I'd ship the house for him because he's one of the top 15 players in the league, in my opinion, one of the top 3 shooting guards in the NBA. He's an MVP caliber player already in just year 3 in the league. Ant has been spectacular for Minnesota. The question is he ever going to want out? Because let's be honest here, they have a pretty good situation in Minnesota right now with him, Gobert, Jaden McDaniels, Karl-Anthony Towns as well. I don't know why he'd want to leave, at least right now, but if he ever came available, I'd love to trade for Anthony Edwards. Ramon with a question, what about Patty Mills? What can he contribute? If you're watching this on Wednesday, before the game against the Pistons on Tuesday, Miami signed Patty Mills off the buyout market as he was bought out from the Atlanta Hawks. I think he could provide quite a bit, if we're going to be honest. And maybe it's not all basketball related, because he is one of the better locker room presences in the entire NBA. He won the 21-22 Sportsman Award, I believe, which is given out to one of the best teammates. So he is someone who's going to be a positive impact in the locker room. He's one of the most experienced players in the NBA, playing 10-plus seasons, including multiple playoff runs with Brooklyn. Listen, can you believe this? Patty Mills was a rotation player on the San Antonio Spurs teams that were battling LeBron, D. Wade, and Chris Bosh in the NBA Finals. Yeah, like, I'm being dead serious. Like, that he was doing a lot for for San Antonio back then. So he'll provide shooting. He's still a career 39% three-point shooter, 38 this year. Don't expect him to play a lot, as the Heat don't even play DeLon Wright like that anymore. But in a pinch, maybe Patty Mills could come off and provide some three-point shooting. Joshua with a question, is DeMar DeRozan a realistic option this offseason? I don't want DeMar. As he continues to age in his career, he's refined himself as a better three-point shooter, but he's still not perfect. And here's the issue I have with potentially signing DeMar DeRozan or trading for him, wherever the situation will be. Well, your 3 best players in that situation, hypothetical, would all be best in the mid-range, Jimmy, DeMar, and Bam. Horrible spacing. I don't want to deal with that headache. I don't think the Heat should pursue DeMar DeRozan. I would stay away from him. I think there's better options out there. And that's just the way that I would go in the offseason. I'd go after a specific shooting guard if you want to replace Tyler Herro or something like that. Tie me with the last question of the mailbag today. How confident are you in the Heat for the postseason? This is a good way to round out today's live stream in a whole and today's mailbag. If you were watching live, how confident are you in the Heat in the postseason? Very confident. I think there's one team that can compete with us when the chips are down, when everyone's locked in. It's Boston. We're set up for another Celtics Heat Eastern Conference Finals. It's not an opinion, it's a fact. The Knicks, even if they're healthy, I'm going to trust Miami to defeat them. I'm not worried about Milwaukee. I think they actually are worse than they were last year, losing Drew Holiday. I think that was a massive loss for them, and I just think they have no one to match up with Jimmy Butler in the postseason now. And as the Heat continue to evolutionize their game, Duncan Robinson returning. I also look at Cleveland. Not scared of them, one bit. I think it's Boston and us. And the best way I look at this, folks, is go on what you should root for is Miami and Boston to be on opposite sides of the bracket. I don't care if that means Miami is a 6th seed. I don't care if it means Miami ends up being the 7th seed. As long as the Heat do not have to play the Boston Celtics in the second round of the postseason, we will be getting an Eastern Conference Finals between Boston and Miami, and that's really all we need to do. Defeat them once, and you're in the finals once again. Then the larger discussion becomes, can you beat the Denver Nuggets in the finals if that's the team coming out of the West? That'll do it for today's video. Make sure you hit that sub button, join the channel. I'm Nick Roloff. I'll have you covered on a daily basis surrounding the Miami Heat. So hit that sub button and join us for our next watch party, which will be Friday evening against the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'll see you then.